Mr. Hatton, Mrs. Hatton, I'm really pleased to meet you, and I'm so sorry that it happened under this situation. I actually knew your brother, and my deepest sympathies for your loss.
Thank you.
Let me give you this before we go in. This is our price list, okay? It's called the CPL. Everything that you're going to see in this room is on this price list.
Okay.
All right? Now, also, when we go in the room, you're going to see a bunch of coffins, some of which are closed, some of which are open. There are no bodies in any of the coffins, so please don't be concerned about that.
Okay.
First thing I want to show you inside is we have a display where there's a wooden coffin and a metal coffin. I need to show you the differences between the two. Also, I want to make sure that I show you our least expensive offering. Okay? I'm not here to influence your purchase in any way. I don't want to make you feel like I'm pushing you towards a more expensive coffin. I have zero concern about what you pick. Everything in here is totally appropriate. All right?
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So we're going to walk in now. Be aware that there are coffins, okay? I'm going to go in first so that I can turn on the lights. Click. You'll step this way. A lot of people just don't realize that there are several offerings, many different types of coffins that you can use. We have on the top here, obviously, metal. This is 16 gauge. That means that 16 of these layers together will make 1 inch of steel or 1 inch of metal. In the bottom, you see that we have wood. Very much the same thing. 4 sides, rectangular. These are called half couches because the lid splits right here in the middle. There are, if you wanted such a thing, called full couches where the entire lid is one unit and opens up, where you can see the feet to the head. Okay? If you'll take a look at the interiors, you'll see this one is very plush. We have some textured cloth around the edge. The pillow is very textured, and it offers the impression that the deceased is very comfortable and in a plush situation. By the way, I happen to have known your brother. Very fine mandolin player, and I enjoyed listening to him many times. Heck of a musician. He might enjoy the simple fretwork that we have down here on the bottom. And one thing I'd like to point out, this panel can be customized. Knowing he was a fine musician and that's what he really loved in life, we could, if you want, do an embroidery of a mandolin and maybe some of the lyrics of his favorite bluegrass song that he would sing.
Okay.
All right? That's entirely up to you. We can customize.
You would like that.
Yeah, good. We can customize anything you see in here.
Okay.
Let me draw your attention over here. This is our least expensive offering. As I said before, I'm not here to influence you one way or the other, but it's my job to show you what we have available for you, and it's your job to decide what it is that you want to spend and what you want to use. This is made out of sawdust and epoxy, so it will certainly get the job done. If you look, you can tell once we open it, it's made out of recycled material and sawdust on the inside, but it's solid enough. It's got this nice blue Formica covering that some people find attractive. And it certainly gets the job done, and there's nothing wrong or undignified with it. Okay?
Okay.
Let's walk this way. Let me show you some of our other offerings. This, we just looked at the least expensive coffin that we offer. That's about $320 if you check on your price list. This is mahogany. We have it. Yeah, it is. It's very beautiful. We have it imported from Brazil. It's almost $10,000. But if that's what your brother would like, we have that. Down beneath we have pecan, which is very lovely. We have different types of metal coffins here. Let me show you this. We have some corner devices here. Now I know that he was also he was in the Army. Am I correct on that? In the Army. We have some emblems of the Army that are magnetic that we can put on these, and we can pass those off before we drop the coffin in the ground.
Oh, okay.
We can pull those off and we can pass them to different family members if you'd like to do something like that.
Okay.
This is 16 gauge, as was the other one. This one below is actually 18 gauge. Means it's a little bit thinner.
Okay.
Okay? Now, if we look over here, you'll see that this one has a really interesting color to it. This is bronze. It's made out of earth metals. That's about 90% copper, 10% tin. What happens then, well, as I'm sure you know, they've found instruments from the Bronze Age, spearheads, daggers, Arrowheads that are still sharp after 4,000 years. This will last in the earth. It doesn't decay, not like our still coffins will.
Yes.
Anything that's ferrous or made from iron will rust
Okay.
and decay over time. This one should be very good for millennia to come. If you walk with me this way now, I know that he, if I remember correctly, he was not interested in cremation.
Right.
But if he were, we have many of these urns. This is where the ashes go, the cremated remains. And you can put these, if you're interested in such a thing, on your mantle. You can bury them, or you can take them and scatter them out in the woods or the forest.
Okay.
If you wanted to, we could get you a dozen of these to pass out to your family members with his ashes separated amongst them, and they could go different places and scatter them if you would like. Just
Okay.
an alternative. Although I know that he wanted a coffin.
Very nice.
Over here in this corner, let me just point out, this is pine with a laminate on top. So if you look right in the corner, you can see that that is just a photograph of the wood on top of the photograph of a nice wood.
Right.
On a less expensive wood. So if money were a concern, this is not a bad way to go. Again, this is pine, which has been finished and a little bit of extra effort into it. A lot of people, like your brother, who I know is a cowboy, say, just put me in a pine box. That's our pine box offering down there on the bottom. It's dignified. It's you know, it's got that look of a cowboy. Some people will even take, I know he worked on a ranch, will take the branding iron and put their brand on the end of it, and that works just fine.
Like that too.
So whatever I mean, what I'm telling you is that anything you want to do, we can customize this using any of these. One more thing I want to show you are these. These are our grave liners and our vaults. What happens is these things, except with a possible exception of the bronze over there, will deteriorate in the ground. The wood will deteriorate faster.
Right.
Okay? The bronze will take thousands and thousands of years. But if we put something in a vault like this, it keeps the elements away from the coffin. Okay? It's a harsh environment down there. A lot of water, sulfur in the ground, chemicals can deteriorate the coffins. The other big hazard in a graveyard, which a lot of people don't think about, is this, the backhoe that's digging graves. Every once in a while, if you walk through a cemetery, you'll see that some of the gravestones have fallen over and some of the graves are sunken in. What's happened is, if you look here, you'll see that these coffins have collapsed. That means the weight of the dirt, the weight of the earth, has crushed the coffin underneath, and the elements are entering. Now, we can fix that in one of two ways. Number one, a grave liner, which is just basically just cement slabs, not waterproof, so the elements will still get in. But if we go with one of these vaults, your coffin then is secured against the elements. All right? So, do you have any questions?
No, not really. You really put a nice presentation together and give me a lot to think about.
Okay, okay. I do have one more thing on a personal note. Knowing your brother and knowing he was a fine mandolin player, I know that he wanted to be buried with his mandolin.
Right.
I also know he's got several mandolins. It would be a crying shame. Personal note, him being an acquaintance of mine, it'd be a shame to bury him with that 1941 Gibson mandolin. That needs to go to one of his nephews.
Yes.
All right? Let's use one of the other mandolins, and we'll just make sure that it's tuned right. Okay?
Yes.